She vanished after 4 years like I never existed. No goodbye, no explanation. Just gone. Then walked into a job interview, and I was her boss. She thought I'd forget. I made sure she'd remember me forever. Imagine waking up one morning to an empty bed. No note, no text, no nothing from the woman you've lived with for 4 years. That was the day I realized someone can shatter your life without even saying goodbye. I'm not really sure how to tell this without sounding pathetic. Maybe I was pathetic at the time. Hell, maybe I still am a little. But screw it, here goes. We'd been together for 4 years. Her name was Emily. We met in college, both broke, both working part-time jobs to survive. She was smart, funny, loved dogs, and had this chaotic laugh that was contagious as hell. We moved in together after a year. Tiny one-bedroom apartment, ramen dinners, thrift store furniture, the whole "we're in this together" thing. I genuinely thought she was it for me. Like, ring shopping level serious. We had problems, like any couple. I was working long hours trying to climb out of my dead-end IT help desk job. She was bouncing between marketing gigs. Money was always tight, stress was always high, but we made it work. Or at least I thought we did. Until that one morning. It was a random Thursday. I remember because I had a meeting with a client I hated that day. I woke up, and she wasn't next to me. That wasn't too weird. She sometimes left early to grab coffee or hit the gym. I texted her, "Hey, where'd you go?" No response. Then lunchtime rolls around. Still no word. Now it's weird. I check her location on Find My iPhone. Yeah, we shared locations back then. Nothing. Offline. I call her. Straight to voicemail. Now I'm panicking. I text her best friend. No response. I call her mom. Coldest voice I've ever heard. "Emily's fine. Please don't call again." What the actual hell? By that evening, I realized she was gone. Like gone. All her stuff? Half of it was still in the apartment. Her favorite hoodie, some shoes, makeup, even her damn toothbrush, still there. Like she just went out for a walk and never came back. And I wish I could say there was some kind of warning. A fight, a weird moment, something. But there wasn't. We'd had dinner together the night before. We watched stupid Netflix comedies and fell asleep on the couch. Nothing felt off. She just vanished. I won't lie. I lost it. I spent the next few days driving around the city, checking shelters, hospitals, police stations. I even posted in missing persons groups online, thinking maybe something had happened to her. Nope. Turns out she just blocked me. Everywhere. Phone, socials, even my email. It was like I'd been erased from her life. I tried everything. Even sent a letter to her parents' house. Because yeah, she moved out without telling them where she was going either. Nothing. The worst part? Nobody acted surprised. Her friends, her family, they all treated me like I was the crazy one. Like I had messed up and deserved it. That was the moment I realized. This wasn't a mistake. This was planned. I didn't eat right for weeks. Didn't talk to anyone. Barely showed up for work. I wasn't just heartbroken. I was humiliated. Because who gets ghosted after 4 years? Who gets left with zero closure, like a hookup that went wrong? It broke something in me. I couldn't even be angry yet. Just numb. Like someone hit pause on my life and walked away with the remote. I sat in that empty apartment, surrounded by pieces of a life that clearly meant nothing to her. And that's when I made a decision, not out of revenge. Not yet, but out of survival. If she could disappear and start fresh, then so could I. After Emily vanished, I was stuck in that apartment like it was a crime scene. Every corner reminded me of her. The hoodie she left on the chair. Her half-used shampoo in the shower. Her stupid pineapple mug that I hated but never threw away. I kept telling myself she'd call. That this was just a mental breakdown or something and she'd come back crying. But weeks went by. Then months. Still nothing. And the world? It didn't stop for me. Rent was still due. My boss didn't care that my girlfriend vanished into the void. I had a deadline, or I was out. So I snapped out of it. Not because I was ready, but because I didn't have a choice. At first, I was just going through the motions. Work, eat, sleep, repeat. But in those long, bitter nights, something started growing inside me. Not just sadness, anger. Not the kind you throw around in arguments. The quiet kind. The kind that sits in your chest like hot coals, waiting. I started staying up late learning new skills. Stuff I always said I'd get around to when life slowed down. Web development, app design, digital marketing. I turned my depression into fuel. I was working a dead-end IT job by day, but at night, I was building something. I didn't even know what at first. Just something that made me feel in control again. Then came the idea. A simple app for remote teams to organize tasks better. Nothing flashy, but it worked, and people started using it. Fast forward a year. I quit my job, hired a tiny dev team, and launched a startup. The app got picked up by a few mid-sized companies, and suddenly we were making money. Like actual sustainable income. No investors. Just sweat, spite, and caffeine. I wasn't rich yet, but I wasn't struggling anymore. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't wake up feeling empty. People around me noticed the change. I was sharper, colder maybe, more focused. I wasn't interested in dating. I didn't trust easily. And every time someone brought up closure, I wanted to laugh. Because I didn't want closure anymore. I wanted to become someone she'd never recognize. Not so she'd regret it, but so she'd never matter again. I moved cities, got a new place, cleaned up my style. Hell, I even started working out. Nothing crazy, just enough to feel less like the ghost she left behind. By the end of year 3, I was running a full team. Had a business address. A LinkedIn profile that didn't look like a cry for help. Life was good. Then year 4 came. And with it, the full circle moment I never saw coming. We were hiring. Our company had grown faster than expected, and we needed someone to help manage a new department. The role was mid-level, but important. A lot of client interaction, deadlines, pressure. I was part of the final interview panel. Normally, I didn't sit in on these, but I wanted to get a feel for the kind of people joining our culture. I liked having that connection with the team. We scheduled 5 interviews that week. The last one was on a Friday. I almost didn't show up. Had a late-night bug fix that left me running on fumes. But I did. Walked into that conference room. And there she was. Emily. Same brown eyes. Same nervous lip biting she always did when she was unsure of herself. Wearing a blazer that looked 2 sizes too big and heels she couldn't walk in. I stood there in the doorway like I'd been hit with a baseball bat. And here's the thing. She didn't recognize me. Not at first. I sat down across from her. No expression. Just watched her squirm as she glanced at my name on the welcome folder. Then it clicked. Her eyes widened. Her face went pale. And I saw her whisper my name under her breath. Daniel. I smiled, not out of joy. Out of sheer, calculated control. Hi, Emily. Let's begin. If you've never watched someone realize they screwed up their entire life in one instant. Man, it's something. Emily sat across from me, clutching her portfolio like it could protect her. Her eyes darted around the room like she was looking for a trapdoor to escape through. I kept my face calm, just enough of a polite smile to mess with her head. To her credit, she tried to play it cool. I didn't realize you worked here, she said, voice shaky. I didn't respond right away. Just flipped open her resume, took a sip of water, leaned back. Small world. That was it. That's all I gave her. No emotion. No hint of what I was thinking. Just business as usual. She was rattled. I could tell. She stumbled through the first few questions. Forgot dates. Got a software acronym wrong. Gave me some vague story about personal transitions when I asked about the 2-year gap in her resume. Gee, I wonder what that was about. I almost laughed when she said, I'm really excited to be part of a team that values communication and accountability. Communication. Accountability. From the woman who ghosted a 4-year relationship like a deleted text thread. I asked her every question cold and sharp, never breaking eye contact. She kept stealing glances at me, like she was trying to figure out if I hated her, or if she still had some kind of pull. It was the same manipulative little dance she used to do when she knew she'd screwed up but didn't want to say sorry. But this time, she was the one begging for approval, and I was sitting in the chair she never imagined I'd grow into. At the end of the interview, I stood up first, gave her a firm handshake. No warmth. Thanks for coming in, Emily. We'll be in touch soon. She opened her mouth like she wanted to say something personal, maybe apologize, maybe explain, maybe beg, but I walked out before she could get a single word out. Now here's the twist. I didn't blacklist her, didn't delete her resume, didn't warn the team about her. I went to HR and said, hire her. They were confused. My co-founder pulled me aside and said, are you sure? She didn't do great in the interview. I said, exactly. Let's see how she does under pressure. I made sure she got the job. Why? Because she left me with questions, with pain, with no closure. And now? Now she was the one walking into a situation she didn't fully understand. This wasn't about screaming at her, or throwing coffee in her face, or posting receipts online. This was chess. And I just moved my first piece. A week later, she started. She didn't know if I was going to fire her on day one. She didn't know if she should avoid me or pretend everything was normal. So she tried to act overly professional. Fake smile, nervous energy, and every time she saw me, she flinched a little. Good. I assigned her to a department that needed help, but was drowning in disorganized tasks. Short-staffed, bad clients, overdue deadlines, a complete mess. And I made sure she was project lead. At first, she tried. She stayed late, took calls after hours, sent overly polite emails with way too many exclamation points. But the cracks were already showing. She wasn't used to being the underdog. She expected people to go easy on her, expected someone to rescue her. But this time, there was no one coming. Not her parents, not her exes, not me. And the worst part for her? I was watching everything. Calm, professional, smiling in meetings, offering zero personal words, just pressure and silence. And slowly, she started unraveling. It didn't take long for Emily to realize the role wasn't what she thought it'd be. The clients were a nightmare. The deadlines were stupid tight. The team she was leading? Half of them were interns. The other half didn't respect her because I made sure not to introduce her as experienced. Just new. Every time she looked at me during a meeting, her eyes screamed, "Why are you doing this?" And I just looked back like, this is a workplace. Act like it. About 3 weeks in, she finally broke the silence. I was grabbing coffee in the break room. She walked in behind me, cleared her throat, and said, "Hey, can we talk?" I didn't look up from the machine. About work? No. About everything. I finally turned around, took a long sip of my coffee. Then, "Emily, you ghosted me. For 4 years, I assumed you were dead. Now you want to chat by the Keurig." She went red. I didn't know how to explain. You didn't want to explain. She opened her mouth again, and I cut her off. "You're here to work. Do that." And I walked away. That's when it really started getting fun. I started digging. I still had a few mutuals from our college days. I hit up one of them, a girl named Jess who had always had a soft spot for me. Asked if she knew anything about Emily post-disappearance. And boy, did she. Turns out, Emily had left me for a coworker at her old marketing job. Some douche named Brett with a BMW and a crypto startup that never launched. She moved in with him a week after leaving me. Yup, planned the whole thing. The ghosting? That was her way of avoiding drama, according to Jess. But karma, as always, was just waiting for its cue. Brett dumped her 3 months later. Rumor was he caught her texting other guys, and not just friendly texts. Real cheating texts. She went back to her mom's place with nothing. No job, no car, no degree finished. That 2-year gap on her resume? That was her crawling back to reality after thinking she leveled up. And now, she was in my building. Armed with that info, I started playing dirtier. I started CCNG her on emails she didn't need to be on. Gave her vague instructions on purpose. When she asked questions, I answered just enough to look helpful, but never enough to solve the problem. She started missing deadlines, getting snippy in meetings. Her team started reporting her for bad communication. HR got wind of it. And still, she kept trying to have that conversation. I ignored every attempt. Until one day, I decided to throw her a bone, just to mess with her head. We were at an end-of-month wrap-up meeting. I walked in late, sat down across from her, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "Emily, you look tired. Everything okay?" She froze, stammered something about just a busy week. "Hope it's not the workload," I added with a fake worried tone. "Let us know if you need support. We're all about communication and accountability, right?" She looked like she was going to be sick. The whole table went quiet. And that was the moment I realized she knew the truth was leaking. She didn't know how much I knew, or how much I was willing to do with it. And that uncertainty, that was my power. Emily was slipping. Fast. Her reports were late. Her team avoided her. Clients started asking to speak with someone else. And every time she messed up, she looked at me, like a drowning woman looking at the guy holding the only life jacket. And I just smiled, because I wasn't done yet. I started small. One afternoon, I accidentally left a Slack window open in the conference room after a meeting. Just happened to be a chat with my co-founder where I said, "Did you hear Emily used to work with that Brett guy? The scammer with the fake crypto thing?" Another coworker saw it. Then too. Did I confirm anything? Nope. But you know how offices are. Whispers move faster than emails. A few days later, I dropped another breadcrumb in the break room. I heard someone on the team left their last job suddenly, real sudden. Boom. Another spark. But the final touch? The chef's kiss? I forwarded one of her old emails to myself, one she had written to Brett years ago. Something cringy about finally getting rid of dead weight, me, and can't wait to start a real life with someone on my level. Yeah, that one. She must have sent it from our shared laptop back in the day, and like the amateur she was, never wiped the drive before vanishing. I still had that file saved on an old backup drive. I took a screenshot, blurred out names and dates, then casually shared it in a group chat with my department leads as an anonymous example of toxic communication. Guess who recognized the wording? Yup, Emily. She came to my office that afternoon, pale, shaking. Why are you doing this? I didn't pretend to misunderstand. I just leaned back and said, doing what, Emily? Managing my team? Holding people accountable. Her voice cracked. She dropped the fake calm. You're punishing me. I gave you a job when no one else would. You're punishing yourself. She looked like she wanted to cry, and for a second, I felt it. That old part of me, the one who loved her, the one who would have dropped everything to protect her. But then I remembered that Thursday morning. The silence, the blocked number, the toothbrush still sitting in the cup like she just ran out for milk. And that feeling went cold. She didn't speak for a few seconds, just stared at me with that look. The one people get when they finally realize you're not the same person anymore. I made a mistake, she whispered. I stood up. You made a series of mistakes. Then I opened the door for her. Your review's next week. Let's hope you've improved by then. After she left, I sat down at my desk. And for the first time in 4 years, I felt weightless. Not because I ruined her, not because I got even, but because I was done carrying her. The performance review and the goodbye she deserved. It was a Friday. The kind of Friday where the office is a little too quiet. Like everyone knows something's about to go down, but no one wants to say it. I called Emily into the meeting room at 4 p.m. End of day, end of week, end of her. She walked in like someone walking into court. Blazer stiff, hair tied back like she was trying to hold herself together physically. I didn't make her wait. I didn't draw it out. I laid the file down on the table, pulled out the sheets. So, I reviewed your past 60 days. She nodded. No fake smile this time. No act. Your performance has been inconsistent. Deadlines missed. Poor communication. Several clients filed complaints. Your team morale? Honestly, in the gutter. You've had 3 formal write-ups and 7 informal warnings. She tried to speak. I held up a hand. I know you've had a rough time adjusting. I know. Personal history complicates things. Silence. I leaned in, calm as ever. But Emily, this isn't about the past. This is about right now. And right now, you're not meeting the expectations of this role. She swallowed hard. I can do better. Please. Just don't fire me like this. I tilted my head. Like what? Like it doesn't matter. And for the first time, I let the edge slip into my voice. Emily, you ghosted me after 4 years together. You disappeared like I was nothing. No call. No message. Just vanished. You didn't care how it looked. You didn't care how much it hurt. You ended a life without saying a single word. I pushed the paper toward her, her termination form. This is me doing the same. She sat frozen, eyes glassy, breathing shallow. You really waited 4 years to do this? I shook my head. No, I waited 4 years to not care anymore. And that was the truth. I wasn't angry. I wasn't bitter. I didn't need revenge or drama or some Instagram-worthy meltdown. I just needed to close the door she slammed open and left blowing in the wind. She signed the paper. Didn't say another word. I walked her to the elevator. No one else was around. Just the 2 of us. As she stepped inside, I held the door. I hope you figure yourself out someday. She looked at me, one last time. Like maybe she thought I'd changed my mind. Like maybe there was still a piece of me that missed her. There wasn't. And I let the doors close. That weekend, I went home. Sat on my couch with a whiskey in one hand and peace in the other. For the first time in 4 years. I slept like a man with nothing left to prove.